Our topic today is Starbucks' smart pricing strategy in China, and here is our agenda today. Starbucks has actually gone through a complicated process to bring its coffee stores into China because government and policy issues. Firstly is the introduction of brand. To introduce the Starbucks brand, the company began to distribute coffee for free to guests in several Beijing's hotels in 1994. Secondly, Starbucks adopted the mode of licensing agreement to license its Chinese partner, a wholesale distribution company, to supply coffee beans to some selected hotels and restaurants in 1998. The third step is joint venture. In 1999, Starbucks formed a joint venture with the Taiwan-based Uni President Group and opened stores in Shanghai. In 2000, Starbucks entered into joint venture with Meixing International Company. It managed the operations in the region of Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Macau, Guangzhou, and other parts of southern China. Although it is not as easy as expected for Starbucks to enter China at the very beginning, the market potential in China is very huge and it is still constantly increasing. We can observe from the graph that the number of Starbucks stores increased dramatically this year, from only 185 licensed stores in 2005 to almost 3,000 stores in total in 2017. For Chinese consumers, a cup of Starbucks is actually very expensive compared with American consumers. Although the price itself is only slightly different, when we take general price level into consideration, the difference becomes huge. In the US, the money used to purchase a grande Starbucks can only buy 4 cans of Coca-Cola. However, in China, we can buy at least 17 cans of Coca-Cola with the money of buying a grande Starbucks. Although a cup of coffee is kind of expensive for Chinese consumers, their increasing purchase power and shift of lifestyle have made the industry become prosperous. Firstly, Chinese coffee consumption has nearly tripled in the past 4 years. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, faster than any other major market the agency checks. Secondly, in 2016, coffee is an outlier in China's cooling economy, where demand for other commodities is declining. The country's massive population and a largely untapped market present unprecedented opportunity, and that potential market is vast. China's population nears 1.4 billion. Thirdly, it is estimated that China's coffee consumption will grow about 20% annually, and women under 30 contribute to much of the shift. They are moving away from buying Louis Vuitton bags to experiences, he said. Coffee culture is a part of that. In Chinese market, there are several big players. Starbucks, Costa, and McCafe are the 3 huge chain stores coming from other countries. There are also some local chain stores, not as widespread as the top 3, but they are also doing good, the Man Coffee and the Ugashima Coffee. There are also a lot of private-owned coffee houses in mainly first-tier and second-tier cities in China, and then let my teammates to introduce the competitors of Starbucks in China.
So out of these competitors, there are 2 main competitors of Starbucks in Chinese market. The first one is Costa Coffee, and second one is Ugashima Coffee. Costa Coffee is originated in UK, founded by Italian brothers Sergio Costa and Bruno Costa in 1971. It opened up the first Costa Coffee store in Shanghai, China in 2006. In 2012, Costa has opened up 200 Costa Coffee stores in the Chinese market. It positions that its coffee is originated from Italy with the sense of European royalty, which implies that they are better than Starbucks. Ugashima Coffee was set up in 1997. It is a coffee chain restaurant known for managing coffee chain business in various areas in China. It is originated in Taiwan in 1968 and inspired by Japanese Ushima Coffee launch. There are 500 Ugashima coffee stores in mainland China, and it positions itself as providing satisfaction for people who are pursuing fashion and taste. However, these 2 competitors are failed to be as successful as Starbucks. Let's look at their deeper issues. The issues of Costa Coffee. Costa Coffee was acquired by the Whitbread plc company, a British multinational hotel, coffee shop, and restaurant company in 1995. It utilized the close-knit strategy with that almost every store is right next to Starbucks, which is similar to McDonald's next to KFC in China. These tactics not only saves cost of market analysis and research, but also increased its brand awareness by sitting right next to Starbucks. Although many consumers think that Costa Coffee actually has better taste and quality of coffee as well as other desserts, the average consumer expenses in Costa Coffee is $38, which is much cheaper than Starbucks. Why Costa Coffee still cannot copy Starbucks' success? There are 5 reasons. First, it is a second mover. It entered in Chinese market later than Starbucks. The total store it owned is still less than Starbucks, even with its increasing expansions. Second, it constantly copies and pastes Starbucks products, Starbucks culture immersions, and Starbucks business model. Third, it chose a joint venture similar to what Starbucks did, which is called a Hualian Group, who brought Costa smoother expansion and immersions in shopping malls and supermarket. However, Hualian is not good at the area of management of catering industry. Fourth, the process for consumers to order food is much slower and harder in Costa than ordering food in Starbucks. And lastly, it has bad marketing strategy. Costa's Chinese market and public relation teams are less active than teams from Starbucks. Next, we look at the issues of Ugashima coffee. Ugashima, however, entered the mainland market prior than Starbucks and Costa. There were no competitors in the market, and it occupied the best opportunities. It attracted a large number of consumers who pursue modern taste, better living standard, and arts. Those group of people is often called petite bourgeoisie. However, a few years later, almost 3,000 stores across the country closed. It's hard to find the specific data of stores that still opens, and the brand can be barely seen on the streets. Few reasons behind such tragic disappearance. First, there were no strict and no unified criteria for franchisees who only concerned their own profits regardless of the quality of the service. There were unequal quality of their service across franchises, which normally located in high-end malls. It lost its unified brand and the value is discounted. Second, Ugashima stakeholders were lack of crisis awareness. When issues happen, stakeholders failed to work together to confront the competitive brands like Starbucks. Instead, stakeholders started their own coffee brands, which cannibalized Ugashima coffee itself. Third, there were scandals regarding Ugashima coffee on consumers, such as compulsory consumptions and consumer store credits cannot be fulfilled without notification. And those scandals were never being explained. Fourth, the price keeps expensive. The average consumer's expenses is $45 compared to Starbucks, which is $46. With $1 difference, consumers are more willing to choose Starbucks for its better products and services. Lastly, it kept earning low profits while having high cost, partly due to its large stores, which are much larger than Starbucks physical stores, because it is more like a restaurant than a coffee shop.
I will focus on localization. Starbucks' localization strategy is extremely successful. The success could be attributed to speak directly to the essence of Chinese culture. Let's first take an overview of typical questions that Starbucks faced when entering Chinese market. The questions at hand are not about the coffee initially, but about the long-standing tea house culture. We all know that tea culture has existed for thousands of years in Chinese culture. What Starbucks does is not to compete directly with tea houses, but tries to build a third place, a community between school and work, and brought that ethos to China with a modern, Western upscale sensibility. Starbucks has organized its efforts in China around 3 key pillars of Chinese. They are communities, status, and family. First, Starbucks learned that Chinese highly value their community, so the company designed retail space to facilitate circles together. To achieve this goal, Starbucks expanded the store space. In China, the spaces are up to 40% bigger than in US. Besides, Starbucks also welcome cross, noise, and lounging in Chinese markets. Contrary to the concept of quiet homes for solitary laptop users in US, the core of community doesn't sell coffee but rents coaches to make its millions. Besides, Starbucks also aims at building up a premium brand. In China, Starbucks charges 20% higher prices compared to the other parts of the world. It portrays prosperity, success, and upward mobility. Additionally, Starbucks also realized parents are important in Chinese culture. Influenced by Confucian values, parents engage strongly in children's lives, their upbringing, education, and career. And the children in turn show great respect and care for their parents as they age. Understanding the engaged role of Chinese parents, Starbucks holds Partner Family Forum annually to motivate employees. The forum has more than 90% participation rates. Employees and their parents learn together. The programs work effectively to maintain high staff retention by giving more support to employees' family. To conclude, Starbucks' localization strategy is to develop long-term vision, local relationships, and localize the product offerings around the three pillars. Let's invite my teammate to introduce pricing strategy.
Okay, to detailed analyze Starbucks' smart pricing strategy, first we conduct an EVC analysis. Before Starbucks entered China, people there regarded coffee as a premium product for successful businessmen. Typically, a cup of coffee was priced at 50 to 80 RMB. So their willingness to pay for coffee is more than 5 RMB. To differentiate themselves and avoid price wars, Starbucks chose to lower its price to make difference. Through the analysis, we can see that Starbucks could set a price at 40 according to the EVC, while it chose to lower to 25 RMB, which is really attractive to people and thus can accumulate great customer base quickly. Even though Starbucks set a price lower than people's willingness to pay, it still can make great profits. Since the cost of a cup of coffee is only less than 5 RMB, its margin and markup reach to 81.6% and 43.5% respectively through the cost-based calculation. Then we further analyze how long can a Starbucks store reach to its break-even point in China. The result is surprising that on average, a Starbucks store will meet its break-even point only 186 days after it opens. Therefore, we can say that the pricing strategy for Starbucks is really smart since it can make great profits as well as satisfy its customers.
As my teammate illustrated in the previous slide, Starbucks has a vital marginal profit in Greater China market, with a massive focus on profit maximization through value-based pricing strategy. Starbucks implemented its smart pricing in the following aspect. First, persuasive pricing communication strategy. Starbucks realized that China's rising middle class, who are very interested in Western brands and products, they perceived purchasing luxury goods as pursuing premium lifestyle under the status quo effect. The national orientation towards luxury goods extends to Starbucks brand, which is characterized by a certain degree of exclusivity. Localization was done under the effect of liking and post hoc. Human beings are more emotional than rational, and we intend to like those who are similar to ourselves and feel positive about individuals due to the first impression. Starbucks was smart enough to sense the secret and also bridge the gap between the tea drinking culture and the coffee drinking culture by introducing flavored beverages using popular local ingredients and also integrating the store design with Chinese culture. As of confusably, Starbucks was accused several times of pricing too high in China, but they associated the increase with high importing costs. Meanwhile, Starbucks intentionally selected high visibility and top traffic locations for new stores to avoid direct ads competition, using increased importing costs and facility costs to justify the price, as well as statements that aim to make the hikes look insignificant, help foster an attitude of acceptance. Second, visioning product pricing strategy. China is a tea drinking country, and there was little to non-coffee drinking demand when Starbucks first entered. The company created the demand with Starbucks experience that appealed to consumers. Today, Starbucks has established itself as an aspirational brand and also can charge a very premium high price. So with third-degree pricing discrimination, Starbucks stimulated the sales volume of a large-size coffee by merely increasing the tall-size coffee. Besides, Starbucks labeled each package with the country where it was imported from to address Chinese consumers' concern about food safety, and it is a good move regard to transparency. By visioning the product in this way, the company was able to increase customers' willingness to pay and decrease the trade-off along with the price sensitivity. Also, it can enjoy a slightly higher margin from those customers who were persuaded by the brand value and its pricing hacks. Third, pricing tactics in the potential pricing war. Based on the research, Starbucks is one of the most popular foreign brands in China, representing 10% of the company's presence worldwide, and Starbucks expects to have 5,000 stores by 2021. Starbucks' value-based pricing strategy comes from a firm customer base and their high willingness to pay. Proceeding to today's Chinese market, Starbucks understands that its target market base live in a heavily digitalized environment. Thus, Starbucks entered into a strategic partnership with local contributors, such as Tencent, the developer of WeChat, to better reach the target market. According to our research, Starbucks launched a social gifting campaign titled Say It with Starbucks in February 2017. Users could send WeChat friends a voucher for a coffee redeemable at any Starbucks location. In the first 7 weeks after its launch, about 1.2 million gift vouchers were sent. Rather than trying to compete with Ogashima and Costa, Starbucks runs complex pricing actions to separate itself from the pack and reinforce the it reinforces the exclusivity of their brand and products. Along with the consumer loyalty, the Star Member Card is also another example. Since the membership card is an effort to reward loyalty, it enhances the company's reputation, and about 12 million people in China have signed up already. Moreover, Starbucks loyalty following is not especially price sensitive. Starbucks coffee maintains a fairly inelastic demand curve, and a small price increase can have a substantial positive impact on their margins without decreasing demand for beverages.
So, except from Starbucks' smart pricing strategy, Starbucks' success in China won't be achieved without its branding strategy. Starbucks' branding strategy focuses in detail on the experience the store creates to provide more value add-ons to the customers, which is manifest in its product, customer service, and promotions. As for product, Starbucks constantly innovate when it comes to beverages, as regularly reintroduce dynamic products which are usually reflective of the area, geography, season, and festivals. This increases user engagement. And secondly, diversification. Starbucks not only offer coffee beverages, there is a wide range of drinks to choose from which will engage more customers into the shop. And lastly, localization. As mentioned above, Starbucks introduced beverages that included local tea-based ingredients in accordance to Chinese culture. And in terms of service, Starbucks make third place creation, which is propose the idea of third place where you can have a coffee, meet and greet your friends, and have a relaxed experience. Then these experience should match with the local culture, neighborhood's coffee shop. Secondly, emotional branding. Simple things like addressing the customer by their first name while placing an order, the overall tone of voice, the enthusiasm of the staff, and etc. are fabulous strategies to create a warm and friendly environment. And lastly, constancy in the brand experience. Starbucks put a lot of emphasis on recreating similar levels of brand experience in each of its stores across the world. And lastly, for promotion, it has embraced digital innovation by developing and rolling out mobile marketing through Starbucks app for paying for products, tipping, earning and redeeming rewards. And it also uses technologies as QR codes, coupon downloads, and virtual gift cards in its promotional campaigns. Overall, a Starbucks success sets a perfect paradigm for companies who want to enter the global market. And the key takeaways is that they need to first conduct extensive market research to really get to know the country, its culture, its competitors, and consumers' behaviors there. And localization is the first step to do. However, localization is not enough. The company needs to be creative and explore the blue ocean in the market to drive new demands and to exploit more sustainable growth of its business. So that's all of our presentation. Thank you.